In a secret kingdom, endless conflict divides a family. Now, brother fights brother with politics and scheming. In a quest for the throne.
I've known these chimpanzees personally for over 50 years. I've watched the drama of their lives unfold. This family is like a dynasty, made up of individuals, each one with his own personality. Now we're taking the best from our decades of unique footage to tell for the first time on film the story of one male's struggle for power. I couldn't have predicted how things would turn out.
A hunting party, looking for fresh meat. And the stakes are way higher than you think. No one needs the hunt to succeed, more than the leader, Freud. He is a calm and skillful ruler. But his younger brother, Frodo, is second in command and a rival. Broad-shouldered, his hair constantly on end. He's around 6 times stronger than a human, and he is the biggest threat to Freud's hold on power. They regroup. Freud and Frodo reassess. "80 feet above them, their prey. Colobus monkeys. The chimps target the most vulnerable, a female with her young. Male Colobus rush to the defense. But Frodo is far too powerful. In the panic, a youngster is separated from its mother. Easy prey for Frodo. But Frodo doesn't get to enjoy his prize. Freud snatches it away. This isn't just about food. It's about politics. Freud can use the monkey as a reward that he can dole out to his cronies. To bolster his status against Frodo, he must build alliances with other males. And sharing meat is the best way to do that. Frodo tries to barge in. But Freud has no interest in sharing with his brother. All Frodo can do is rant and rave. For now, Freud has secured his leadership. But Frodo simmers with resentment. This is not over. At 23, Freud has led the troop for just more than a year. He rules over more than 50 chimps, mostly females and youngsters, with around a dozen males. His kingdom covers roughly 6 square miles. He has deep, calm eyes, the gray goatee of an intellectual. Though 5 years younger, Frodo is easily the biggest chimp in the gang. He's powerful and aggressive, with a wide, grizzled face. The brothers' styles are totally different. It seems like brain versus brawn. In fact, it's all about tactics. Freud is the eldest child of the matriarch, Fifi. She is mother to the king and his rival. She's as high-ranking as a female can get in this man's world. Even she must pay her respect to her son, the leader. The brothers' power struggle is just the latest chapter in this chimp dynasty. Fifi gave birth to the brothers when she was a teenager. Even as youngsters, it was clear they were very different. Frodo is already a bully. His roughhousing has a brutal edge. Unlike his brother, he doesn't bother to win friends and allies. All he knows is brute force. Not only did Fifi spawn the leader and the challenger, recently she's produced two more brothers. First, Faustino, and then, when Faustino is just 3, yet another boy, Ferdinand. That means Faustino is weaned unusually early. Normally, he would have nursed until around 4. Now, he's stunted and seems to lack confidence. Ferdinand is already well-built and self-assured. He's in the driver's seat. Like Freud and Frodo, the young princes have their own personalities. 6-year-old Faustino turns to baboons for playmates. An adult baboon could easily kill a little chimp. At just 3 years old, Ferdinand shows no fear. Faustino has a different experience. Before long, the youngsters must start to learn the political games their older brothers are playing. Freud, the leader, is calmly holding court, surrounded by his subjects. But tension has been building for months. His younger brother Frodo is still his junior and still frustrated. He bides his time until he judges the moment is right. Will the usurper succeed, or will Freud crush him? Freud can't let this challenge go unanswered. After all, he's the reigning king. His hair stands on end, making him look almost as big as Frodo. His display is even more impressive. Frodo looks on in alarm. Frodo's attempted takeover has failed, for now. And he submits to Freud. Far away, in a remote corner of this leafy realm, another drama unfolds. Shajimi is 8. When he was just 3, his mother was killed by hunters. This little urchin has survived against the odds. If he was a common chimp, he almost certainly wouldn't have made it. But Shajimi is a bonobo, a completely different animal. He's leaner and spends more time on 2 legs. And his world is run by a sisterhood. Here, the ruler is a queen. Even the males must answer to her. Shajimi's world is different in another way, too. Disagreements aren't settled by force. They have a much more enjoyable way of resolving things. Sex. It glues the whole community together. Common chimps are fighters. Bonobos are lovers. But even here, life for an orphan is a struggle. When the queen leads the band off to look for food, Shajimi's in danger of being left behind. He has no mother to help him through the canopy, where the bonobos prefer to travel. But an orphan can't be a quitter. By the time he makes it, the best fruit is taken. Yet Shajimi has learned how to make do. The others' leftovers will do just fine. For the grown-ups, it's siesta time. kids have too much energy to snooze. Shajimi, the outcast orphan, is excluded. When he does join in, things get out of hand. The mother won't stand for it. She punishes Shajimi with a bite to the finger. And then, when he seems most alone, two little playmates understand that he's hurting. It's as if they're trying to kiss it better. Though just toddlers, they show compassion. That, plus Shajimi's pluck, will help him continue to beat the odds. Freud and his rival Frodo cannot afford compassion. The brothers are battling for nothing less than the throne of their chimpanzee kingdom. Today, Frodo plans to bolster his claim to that throne through conquest. In this world, the wealth is in the fruit trees scattered throughout their territory. The chimps will battle to take over valuable trees to ensure food for the troop. That means an attack into enemy territory. Frodo needs to keep the tribe's females happy. Taking over the enemy's fruit trees can help him do that. A dangerous patrol may also cement alliances among the warriors, boosting Frodo's power. Frodo is learning how to play at politics. They're now on the edge of the rival kingdom. Even Frodo seems nervous. If their small unit is outnumbered, this could be life and death. Their target is near. They're right here. Frodo grabs one of their young as the mothers flee for their lives. When Frodo goes to war, a defenseless youngster is fair game. By attacking the infant, Frodo can terrorize the other community and drive them away. That means the Gombe females, like Fifi, can get more fruit to eat. So far, Frodo has played his hand well. He's been successful hunter, victorious warrior, but he remains subordinate to Freud. He lacks something his brother has in spades: political skill. That's what it takes to gain power. Without it, even a chimp as strong as Frodo is ultimately doomed. Whether you succeed or fail as an adult depends on getting a good start in life. And Fifi aims to give her sons the best education possible. She leads the young princes miles each day to find food. She knows where each fruit tree is and when it comes into fruit. And she's teaching her boys how to get this treasure. As Ferdinand and Faustino get older, the skills they must learn become more challenging. Chimps must take food where they can find it. That means the boys must learn to make tools. Termites are a high-protein delicacy, but fishing for them isn't easy. Faustino is a slow learner, easily frustrated. But his younger brother Ferdinand has what it takes: focus and patience, skills that will serve him well. Fifi is not just prepping her kids for their future. She's passing on their tribe's culture. More than 1,000 miles away, in the rainforest of Ivory Coast, distant relatives are teaching their kids a completely different custom. This one requires prized tools, a hammer and an anvil. The parents make it look easy, but it takes the youngsters a while to get the hang of it. And some of them never get it at all. Back in Tanzania, 2 years pass. And now, a shadow spreads over the hills of Gombe. And it threatens to destroy everything Freud has worked for. A plague has struck the chimpanzees. Freud's chimps have mange, a devastating skin parasite. His mother, the matriarch Fifi, is sick. So is the youngest prince, Ferdinand. Finally, even Freud, the king, catches the illness. It saps their strength, no matter how much they eat. The parasite spreads by physical contact. Frodo, the hostile outsider, escapes the plague. He's still strong and tough. Freud's weakness gives him the opportunity he's been waiting for. The tables are turned. Frodo drives Freud away, and he is too weak to fight back. The king's reign is over. Freud's era is finished. Alone and dejected, the others avoid him. The usurper claims his kingdom. Now Frodo is the one being groomed. The females now form his harem. Frodo's personality shapes his reign. He imposes his will with an iron fist. Freud can only watch from the sidelines. But Frodo faces a totally unexpected challenge. Now king, Frodo eagerly produces heirs. A year into his reign, something incredible happens. He fathers twins. Twin chimpanzees are super rare. Both almost never survive. But they're lucky. Their mother, Gremlin, is wonderfully patient and nurturing. As they grow, she teaches them the skills they need. Soon, they're old enough to venture out on their own, making the most of a rare swarm of flying termites. Frodo remains a brutal overlord. He rules as dictator for years, a substantial reign. Yet no chimpanzee king lasts forever. "5 years after he exploited Freud's illness to seize control, Frodo is struck down by a wasting disease. He disappears. In his absence, no one chimp emerges to take Frodo's place. Months later, he finally returns. Now a shadow of his former massive self. Like any tyrant, he refuses to admit that his time has passed. He tries to grab what he sees as his due. Meat the hunters have just caught. But Frodo is no longer the fearsome bully. And now, in his turn, Frodo is brought down by ruthless chimpanzee politics. Frodo's fall leads to 4 years of instability. Leaders come and go, none reigning for long. In this power vacuum, Frodo and Freud are both eventually accepted back into the community, though neither is ever likely to sit the throne again. But their lineage is not ended. Incredibly, the youngest of the 4 brothers ultimately rises. Little Ferdinand grows up to become the next king of Gombe. And a new era dawns in the chimpanzee kingdom.
On a frozen ocean, many miles from land, a mother polar bear teaches her cubs to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. These extraordinary bears spend every winter on a continent of ice. Now we reveal the secret lives of polar bears and how they rule over their icy kingdom. A polar bear could kill a man with one swipe of his paw. But these hungry teenage males are just killing time, waiting for the big freeze. In Canada's frozen north, hundreds of polar bears are following an age-old migration route. An annual spectacle played out on the shores of Hudson Bay. Over thousands of years, they've been instinctively drawn to the area of the bay where the waters freeze first. Providing the earliest access to the frozen sea and their natural hunting ground. These massive creatures haven't eaten in months.
This is going to build out into the bay, and it'd be just like a big freeway for the bears to go out and hunt seal.
For more than 40 years, legendary polar bear guide Dennis Campare has been tracking the Arctic's polar bear population on land, sea, and ice.
I've seen all the range of emotions these animals go through, and I could connect with every emotion that they showed me.
It's a world few humans ever see. But Dennis has spent a lifetime in the secret world of polar bears.
They're part of my identity. They're part of who I am.
Dennis has followed and friended countless individual bears from the time they were cubs. But years ago, he made a close connection with a bold young male who came looking for him.
I come across him when he was 11 months old. He did something no other bear ever did, is that he broke away from his mother and come over to where I was. So I played a little game with him where I ducked down and he couldn't see me anymore. So what he did is he got on his hind legs and kind of walked backwards to see if he could see me over the top. And I said, oh, he looks like a little dancer. So I called him Dancer. 5 or 6 years after that, I had my own little buggy. I woke up in the morning and all of a sudden, the whole buggy went whoop, just shook. And I go, oh my Lord. So I went to the window and there was a huge polar bear there.
Come here. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's me.
I looked at him and he looked at me, and as soon as he seen me, he stood up and started dancing like it was Dancer. He found me after all those years.
Hi.
Man, so that was kind of give my heart an old tickle there, and so that whole relationship started all over again.
Finn. Hi. Hi, Dancer. Come and see me.
For the next 5 or 6 years after that, he'd come back and find me wherever I was. You know, we visited until the bay froze over and away he went. That's Dancer.
These days, Dancer is like a lot of Hudson Bay polar bears, missing in action. Dennis estimates about a 20% drop in the local bear population. But they come back to the bay every year, waiting for it to freeze. Fresh water in the Churchill River freezes before salt water in the bay. The ice field spreads from here. At the height of winter, reaching 500,000 square miles. An ice continent the size of France. The early hard freeze has always been reliable. Until now.
It took us a long time here on a local level to understand climate change. Up until 5 or 6 years ago, we could just about predict the weather.
The bears could too. That's why they're here. But the planet's throwing them a curveball.
The wind would shift, blow from the north. It would stay in that direction right till March and April. But now that doesn't work anymore. We just can't tell what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know if the ice is going to be thick enough to travel on.
The ice is the bear's safe haven and hunting ground. But the waters are freezing later now and melting sooner, giving them less time each winter to bulk up for the long, lean summer on land.
last 6 years, we've noticed an absence of big males. Where the hell are they?
You know, are they still out there? You know, is the population in serious trouble? And, you know, the mom and cubs, what are the mom and cubs doing out there in the dead of winter? How are they surviving?
With winter on its way, Dennis is determined to find out. He's preparing for one last epic expedition to track these bears through an entire year of their lives. To see for himself how a changing world is impacting the polar bears of Hudson Bay.
I doubt if all of them will ever be answered, but I'll get some information out of it. So this is kind of like my final quest before I, you know, give it up.
But winter's still a waiting game for these bears. Apex predators that haven't had a real meal in months. And won't until they get back on the ice to hunt seals. On solid ground, the largest land predators on the planet are reduced to scavengers. Every calorie counts. For now, tiny fish trapped in the early ice are the best this bear can do. An Arctic fox also smells the fish, but doesn't stand a chance. The clock is ticking for all these bears, forcing some to take big risks. A desperate polar mom and her cubs can't wait for a more solid freeze.
The ice is barely holding them up.
Searching for food, they find only danger on the treacherous shoreline. There's also a hungry male lurking in the rolling ice floes. But he isn't looking to mate. He's hunting her cubs.
She's gonna have a hard time keeping her cubs safe from that guy.
On Canada's Arctic coast, a polar mom leads her cubs onto unstable ice in search of food. She hasn't eaten in months.
There's a mother and two cubs walking precariously on that ice.
A huge male is also hungry and stalking her cubs.
They're hungry this time of the year.
Polar bears are known to eat their own.
She's gonna have a hard time keeping her cubs safe from that guy. Plus, not going through the ice.
Protecting her cubs puts them all at risk.
So it's a pretty crazy situation going on out there.
But the unstable ice is even too much for the male. mom and cubs escape. Finally, frigid winds sweep out of the north. Temperatures plummet. Almost overnight, solid ice starts spreading out into Hudson Bay. This is the moment the bears have been waiting for since last spring. But just as the ice beckons, and hundreds of bears march onto the frozen bay, a pregnant female heads off in the opposite direction, on an even more urgent mission. And another age-old migration. She'll trek 50 miles inland, but our mom knows exactly where she's going. Back to her ancestral birthing dens. She'll endure one of the longest fasts in the animal kingdom. 8 months without a real meal. But her keen sense of smell detects a chance at a few last critical calories before entering the den. Arctic foxes can kill enough lemmings hiding in the snow to stockpile leftovers for later. The foxes make a futile attempt to protect their stash. But they're fighting way above their weight class. 10-pound canines are no match for a 600-pound bear. This is a mysterious, magical time for polar bears, often finding dens that go back generations. Dug into the permafrost, they're custom fit to her dimensions. 8 feet long and only 3 feet high, carved to wrap around her, with no room to move around. Once she enters the den, she won't reappear for more than 3 months. As winter descends, Dennis Campare launches his own search for a polar bear birthing den. His goal? To witness the miracle of a polar mom emerging after months of isolation, followed by her newborn cubs. Then track their epic journey back to the ice in Hudson Bay.
My quest now is to observe these animals during the whole 12 months of the year, the whole year cycle for them. And that would make my journey with these animals complete.
Dennis is completely exposed in one of the most inhospitable climates on Earth, at a bone-chilling 40 below. A breakdown on the tundra could be catastrophic. Along the way, the veteran polar bear guide spies another age-old migration.
Oh, my Lord.
One of the most massive in the natural world.
1,000 caribou crossing the ice. Well, they're tough. They're tough this time of the year. What a sight.
With just a few hours of daylight remaining, Dennis has to keep moving. His destination? An old trapper shack. Base camp for his search for a polar bear birthing den. Polar bear guide Dennis Campare is riding into a frozen wilderness. On a journey to determine how the bears of Hudson Bay are coping in a changing world. But now, he needs to find shelter before nightfall. An old trapper shack will be his base of operations in his search for a polar bear birthing den, somewhere in the vast Arctic expanse.
Oh, yeah. There's one.
Dennis now has to explore this featureless world to find signs that an isolated snowdrift conceals a birthing den. The temporary home for a mom with cubs just a few months old that still haven't seen the sun. It's a seemingly impossible task.
If you're looking for a den that's never been opened up, been broached for the first time, it's difficult as hell. You can look and look and look, and it can take you days and days and days. It really is like finding a needle in a haystack out there. It's such a huge area.
It takes a lifetime of experience to even suspect he's found a birthing den.
Better not get too close.
A heat-sensitive camera will detect anything alive under all that snow.
Ah,
Modern technology confirms the old tracker's gut instincts.
look at that. I got a heat trace coming out of that hole. There's got to be a den. It's a perfect place for a den. This is the spot. This is where the new polar bear lives start, right here.
For the bears inside, the snow provides both camouflage and insulation.
It's quite comfy and it's well insulated. You know, the newborns they're not that big, you know, I mean 12, 16 ounces. Could be 40, 50 below outside, and they're pretty snug within this nice thick covering of snow.
For Dennis, it's a different story. He settles in, exposed to some of the harshest weather on the planet.
No, it's just a waiting game. See how long it's going to take for them to pop out.
The wind chill drops to 40 below. Without proper winter gear, a human would die out here in minutes. But it's a vigil Dennis is determined to maintain. A mom won't leave the den until her newborn is strong enough to face nature's most brutal conditions. Far from Dennis on the tundra, another mom leads her 1-year-old cub onto the pack ice in Hudson Bay. For the most critical lesson any polar bear can learn: hunting ringed seals. Even an expert hunter has to play the percentages. Ringed seals, a polar bear's primary prey, don't make it easy. They can stay submerged in icy water for 45 minutes. But like any mammal, eventually they have to come up for air. That's a bear's window of opportunity. So seals create a network of breathing holes spread out across the ice. To keep the bears guessing where they may surface. It's day 10 of Dennis's vigil. But from deep inside, there are indications life is beginning to stir.
If you look between the trees over there, you'll see how the snow is disturbed and it's kind of roughed up a bit. You know, if you look closer, you can see the start of a hole. And if you look into that hole, you see a polar bear, a mother polar bear, hopefully with cubs.
Settled into a snowbank nearby, all Dennis can do is continue to watch and wait.
Oh, man. Amazing.
This might be it. There's something in there, so it's gotta be the mum.
After 10 long days camped outside a polar bear birthing den, Dennis Campare is beginning to see signs of life buried in the snow.
I'm sure she's anxious to get out. You know, her cubs are growing and growing every day, so that little space she occupies is getting smaller and smaller.
Creatures that will grow to be 8 feet tall and weigh more than 1,000 pounds. Begin life no more than a foot long, their weight measured in ounces.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Amazing.
The cubs grow to about 25 pounds before Mom decides they're ready to venture out into the world for the first time.
Oh my, look at that. That's amazing.
After 3 months trapped in that ice cave, she emerges first to see if the coast is clear and take a long-awaited snow bath.
Probably hasn't eaten since July, so she's pretty hungry at this point, living off her fat reserves.
Despite a 30% drop in body fat, she's comfortable at 40 below. But it's still too cold for newborns.
She won't allow the cubs out right away. It'll be a day or two before the cubs will come out. We still don't know how many cubs she has. We know she has cubs, obviously, but we don't know how many. 1 would be nice, 2 would be great, 3 would be amazing.
As the sun sets, Dennis knows no mom would bring her cubs out into an Arctic night. Darkness descends. Temperatures plummet. As the cold produces the Arctic's signature night spectacle. Nature's psychedelic light show, blazing across the northern sky.
An elder told me, if you watch the northern lights for more than 10 seconds, they're going to come down and grab you, take you up in the sky, and nobody will ever see you again. I still find myself counting when I look up at the northern lights. Only minus 22 today. The sun is out and the wind has dropped. That's a good indication that Mom's gonna poke her head out of the den and have a look around and see what's going on.
More sun and less wind could be just what the mom's been waiting for. Dennis has a hunch this could be the day he's traveled so far and waited so long to see. Dennis Campare has been waiting in wind chill dropping to 40 below. For the moment, new polar bear cubs emerge into one of the harshest environments on Earth. The new mom's been checking conditions every day to make sure they're safe for her cubs to greet the world for the first time.
She never brings the cubs out on their first 2 or 3 days. They don't show up, until a few days later.
Today could be the day Dennis and Mom have been waiting for.
Man, amazing. It's a new life. And 2 beautiful young cubs. You know, there's hope when you see animals like this. Nothing much in the animal world that, you know, makes your heart beat a bit more than what I'm looking at now. It's pretty incredible stuff.
Over the next few weeks, the family will stay close to the den. Mom keeps them safe and well fed. She'll be their sole source of nourishment for the first 4 months of their lives.
The fat content in the milk is like over 30%. So it's rich as hell. And the cubs just gobble it up and just grow and grow and grow. A mother polar bear is probably one of the strongest mothers going. You know, everything she has is invested in these newborns, so she's an incredible mother for sure.
Desperately hungry after months without food, she's carefully monitoring her cubs to determine when they'll be ready for a marathon 50-mile trek to the bay, where she can finally hunt for food again. Days pass. The cubs have a lot of growing and learning to do to survive in the Arctic. Their antics serve as a workout, building muscle for the long walk to Hudson Bay.
It's nothing but play to them, but of course to Mom, what's happening is they're building up their stamina and their strengths for this crazy trek they have to take to get out to the Hudson Bay to hunt seal.
The cubs have no experience of the dangers all around them.
Unfortunately, 50% of cubs of the year don't make it.
Mom is always standing guard.
We can't see what she does. It's very subtle. You know, they could play and be rambunctious and this and that, and whatever signal the mother gives, they just snap back right in line and listen to every command. They have to pay close attention to the mom because she's the one that's going to keep them alive.
Today, Polar Mom smells trouble. She's not the only predator around.
So we've seen a wolverine trundling across her horizon there. The wolverine were known to take down polar bear cubs, so it's a bit troublesome.
She raises the alert level. Her cubs could be in serious danger. Like the new mom, veteran polar bear tracker Dennis Campare is also on guard duty when the cubs are outside, at play in the snow.
You know, they're just exploring their new world, and the idea for now is just let them run around and get some stamina.
But Mom smells danger. A wolverine. They're fierce, ruthless predators. This is a flanking maneuver, designed to disguise plans for a sneak attack. Wolverines are capable of taking down much larger prey, including caribou, even moose. The cubs are in danger.
It takes 2.5 years to teach these cubs everything they need to know to survive on their own, and you know, that's been Mom's goal since day one.
They make it back to the safety of the den. The area around the den is a playground. The polar mom is eager for them to put on weight and add muscle. But with the cubs constantly feeding, she's at a tipping point.
Their mother has not had anything significantly to eat in the last 8 months. So she's pretty hungry at this point, living off her fat reserves.
If she waits much longer to leave the den, she won't be able to feed them.
The biggest thing these young cubs have to overcome is starvation. Her resources are being dwindled. And if she doesn't have any milk to feed these youngins before they have a feast of seal, they can starve.
Mom needs to get moving. The nearest seal kill is more than 50 miles away. On her own, she could reach the bay in a few days. With her cubs in tow, it will take weeks.
Once Mom figures that her young ones are ready to go on this long trek, she gives them some kind of signal.
Finally, she makes the call.
Then the horseplay stops. It's time to get serious now, and the little cubs, they just snap right in line.
It's time to go. The challenges ahead are formidable. After the long march to the pack ice, they'll have only a few short months for Mom to replenish 30% of her body weight. And for the cubs to grow strong enough for the marathon swim back to land in the spring. In the kingdom of the polar bears, life's about to get very real very quickly as they take their first steps on an epic journey.
Ellesmere, one of the world's largest, wildest islands, just 500 miles from the North Pole. Almost half its rugged surface is encased year-round in ice. But at the island's center, steep mountains shelter a tundra plain, and in summer, for 3 bright, brief months, it explodes with life. This is the Garden of the Arctic. A lone wolf makes her way through the valley she's known her whole life. Here, she hunts, howls, and raises her young, just as her ancestors have done since the last ice age, far beyond human reach. Today, hunger drove her to a cache site where she chewed on buried bits of meat from an old kill. It's all she's got access to. And there are at least 2 reasons she really needs to eat. 2 pups are waiting at the den. Wolf pups are born deaf and blind. At about 1 month old, they're still dependent on Mum's milk. A note on the air catches her attention. Her pups are hungry. With a few bites of food in her belly, Mum hurries home. Her pups must put on 2 to 3 pounds per week, and if Mum doesn't eat, her pups won't make it. Elsewhere in the valley, Mum's mate and 2-year-old daughter are hunting. It's their job to bring home food while Mum's still nursing. They're a small family, not much of a hunting party. The wolves' main prey, musk oxen, can grow to 10 times their size. Theirs is an ancient relationship. For 100,000 years, wolves have winnowed the weak and sick from the herds, keeping musk ox numbers in check and preventing them from overgrazing the tundra. Together, they balance this fragile landscape. But musk oxen are formidable. Armed with spear-like horns and sharp hoofs, hard prey for the hungry. A successful hunt requires teamwork, strategy, and strength in numbers. An advantage Dad and Big Sis clearly lack. Ellesmere is virtually empty of humans, more than 850 miles from the nearest city. But today, a visitor has arrived.
I've spent years observing and photographing the wolves in Yellowstone, where for centuries humans have seen wolves as the enemy. They've been hunted, trapped, and poisoned. These wolves, they're stressed and afraid and have spent most of their lives hidden from humans, which makes it incredibly challenging to capture their natural behavior. But 2 years ago here on Ellesmere, I encountered wild wolves with no fear of humans. I realized then this is the only place in the world to tell the true story of wild wolves. I knew I needed to come back and to embed with the pack longer than anyone ever has, to reveal the day-to-day life of this misunderstood predator. And through understanding and connection, it's my hope that we can learn how to coexist.
Back in the valley, Mom and her pups wait for Dad and Big Sis to return with food. Mom is patient with her pups. She sets a tender pace, prepares them for what's to come. For the next 3 weeks, the world around their den will be their classroom. Time is short. The pups have much to learn before winter arrives, when the sun disappears for 6 months and the temperature can fall to 60 below zero. For now, these two are carefree babes, learning a brand new world through their awakening senses. No wolf is born a hunter. To find a pack that will let him near,
Hello, hello.
Ronan must first find an active den.
Gosh, everything is just ice. The wolf can't even fit in there.
He must hurry. In early summer, the wolves leave their dens.
Once the pups outgrow the den, the family is going to become nomadic, and finding an active den is going to become a whole lot harder. Wolves need a source of water and food near their den, so I'll look for that. And places where meat scraps and wolf waste have fertilized the tundra, those are green spots, which is a good sign of a recently active den.
Yeah, I see nice water in that one too. Let's just touch down anywhere in here. You got it.
Wolves rarely dig new dens. The permafrost is simply too hard. Instead, they use shallow caves, hollows, and natural ledges. The best spots can be reused for generations.
Wow. I mean, it's just a block of ice over there. The same as that other one. This whole thing. Just solid ice. Plugging up that entire den hole.
A wolf mum will deliver her pups on bare ground if she must. But without the protection of a den, newborns are left vulnerable to the weather and rival packs.
These are relatively fresh tracks. I guess it seems like the wolves are still coming back to check if these are viable options. This one's full of ice. Oh, this is an unexpected challenge.
On Ellesmere's west coast, a small meteorological station has tracked weather and climate trends for over 70 years.
It looks like this huge weather event came through in August last year and dumped nearly an inch of rain, which is half the annual average. Then the temperature dropped, and all that water must have frozen solid, especially in low areas, so wolf moms couldn't find ice-free dens. The Arctic is warming faster than any other part of the planet, and the seasons are out of balance. There are real consequences.
Ronan decides to scout for dens on higher, drier ground.
I'm gonna go check out a place called Wolf Valley. It's the only habitable land for wolves that I haven't checked yet on this peninsula. If I can't find an active den there, this project is over.
Oh, look at that. If any place has wolves, it should be that. Let's touch down over there.
Oh my gosh. I mean, look at the landscape behind it. If only this was active. That's a fresh wolf track. There's puppies. We gotta go, we gotta go.
Mum knew Ronan was here, long before he ever discovered her den. But will she accept him around her pups? It's summer in the high Arctic. Snowmelt feeds two rivers in Wolf Valley that run south toward the Arctic Ocean. This is a good place to raise young. The two pups have taken their first steps beyond the den, under Mum's watchful eye. Soon, they'll go farther. For now, they're still babes, clumsy and curious, with milk teeth and sky-blue eyes. Before the visitor commits his camp to this valley, he's looking for signs the pack will accept his presence. He came this far to tell the story of fearless wolves that have never heard the shot of a rifle or been lured by a trap.
The old man of muskox hair.
The pack was away when Ronan first discovered the den, but now introductions need to be made. Big Sis reads the breeze, a new scent, an unfamiliar creature. She's on alert.
She's walking right towards us. Coming closer. This isn't a sneak up game. It's a meeting ritual. She's trying to get downwind.
She understands her world through her nose, 100 times more sensitive than ours.
Hey, girl. She's zigzagging back and forth to get our scent. I think she's just curious. There's 2 more wolves above, watching. They all seem relaxed. None of them are chuffing or barking or howling at me. This is great. You know, when something's like staring at you like this, it means that they're anxious. She was kind of in a slow length. That was about as good as it gets for first meeting a wild wolf.
Wow, there's so much water around it. That looks pretty rough. See over this little spot here.
The wolves seem willing, and Ronan decides to commit. He'll move 10,000 pounds of food and supplies to Wolf Valley, enough to last the summer. Half a mile from the den, Ronan settles in to study the routines of the pack.
It is 20 past midnight in Wolf Valley, watching this den. They're just relaxing now. I think she's nursing. Yeah, she's nursing. Oh, man.
That's so great to see. I never saw this in Yellowstone.
Despite Ronan's distance, Mum doesn't seem to like being watched as she feeds her pups.
She's kind of squinty-eyed looking down here. Hmm. 1 a.m. Constant sun. Oh, I can feel it's already burned. June 18th, Wolf Valley. These wolves are shyer than I anticipated, and I don't understand why. I'm trying to be patient, but in order to capture their intimate behaviors, I have to be closer. I might need to improvise.
While the adults are away, Ronan gets to work. The wind's in his favor, and the wall makes an effective blind, hiding him from view. For the moment, he's allowed a privileged glimpse into this small pack's home life.
Big sis, little bro, all having a big kissy face party. Here comes Mom. Everyone's getting up to greet Mom. Everyone's got their muzzles in there, kisses, tongues, happy, happy. Pups are enjoying being around the big dogs. Sweet. You can tell the adults are starting to shed a bunch. The pups are actually getting chunks of fur caught in their mouth and they're going in for snuggles. That's pretty funny. This one pup has a big chunk of fur on his face. This dad, he's lying on his back, rolled over. He's got a pup climbing on top.
Dad indulges the pups nipping and shoving, building bonds that'll see them through winter's darkness.
Dear old dad.
Wolf Valley on Ellesmere Island. It's midsummer in the land of the midnight sun. It's prime feeding time for musk oxen, their only chance to pack on pounds for the long winter. Soon, the rut will come, mating season, when this bull will battle others for dominance in the herd and access to females. Dad and Big Sis have left the valley on a hunt. Mum is still unsure of the visitor, who arrived several weeks ago.
Every wolf is different. Mom's shown me she's shy and I don't want to push it. Camera traps will let me get close without upsetting the family.
The same focal length, roughly, of the human eye. It's just unparalleled, the intimacy you can get, where you can hear them breathing, you can hear their footsteps. I mean, the ultimate picture would be the pups would be playing, the whole group gets back, and there's this whole kind of reunion going on, and to be in the middle of that, to me, would be the perfect picture. These contraptions are the only way. I could never be laying there underneath a family of wild wolves, although I'd love to be.
The Wolf Valley Pack patrols a vast territory, up to 1,000 square miles of mountains, meadows, and riverbeds. As they roam, tracking the movements of their prey, the wolves circle back again and again to specific locations. These spots are perfect for camera traps, which will record their passing.
Oh, sweet. Looks like a fresh set of wolf tracks in the mud. Yep.
Wolves often return to old kills, even if there's little meat left. Cracking bones can release marrow and help sate their hunger.
This carcass it's months old, maybe even a year or more. But the tracks are telling me that the wolves are still visiting it. I have to be strategic about where I put the cameras.
The pack usually follows familiar routes, but they'll go anywhere in search of a meal. This muskox kill will feed the Wolf Valley Pack for days.
A young male, maybe like a 3 or 4 year old. This is super fresh.
I would have loved to have been here when the wolves took down this beast.
The camera traps are a gamble. They could scare Mom and her pack. It's been 3 days since Dad and Big Sis left the valley on a hunt. Mum's howl can carry 10 miles in the clear Arctic air. She's sending a reminder to Dad and Big Sis. I'm hungry. The pups are too. They'll need to find a meal soon. For now, Mum must keep nursing and rely on whatever food she's cached near the den. At the East Fork, Big Sis finds a strange object with an unfamiliar scent.
Oh, it's Big Sis. Oh, sweet. Oh, that sounds like you're breaking something on the camera. Just coming back. Sniff the head. Just doing her thing, ignoring the camera. That's exactly what I hoped for. Some pretty good little teeth marks in there. Camera trap carnage, courtesy of Big Sis. She just wrecked it.
Dad triggered another camera while crossing the river at the confluence.
Dad, he seems to be the most comfortable, or at least curious, to camera. Looks like he's missing an eye. That's incredible, and he's still able to run and hunt without good depth perception. That's Mom in the background. Oh, she's got her tail kind of tucked in.
Mum signals her feelings through body language. The message is hard to miss.
Tail tuck is a sign of anxiety.
This is unnatural behavior that's being brought on by the camera.
Oh yeah, there's Mom again. Not happy. Tail tucked.
The smell of plastic, Ronan's scent, a shiny new object. Any of these might make Mum nervous, with vulnerable pups nearby.
Oh, geez, just fully tucked underneath. There's no point in photographing an animal that's stressed. It's a behavior as a result of me, essentially. And that's completely defeats the purpose of trying to document natural behavior. And I mean, this is Mom totally cowering in front of the camera.
This just makes me feel terrible for even being here.
Camera traps are not working.
I came here for wolves that are unfazed by human presence. But Mom is as stressed as the wolves in Yellowstone. And it's because of me.
There's one last option. To try following Dad and Big Sis on a hunt. Away from the den, these wolves might yet reveal themselves. For days, a storm has battered Wolf Valley. A reminder that winter is always near in the Arctic. The pack is surviving on stored bits of old meals. There's no muskoxen to hunt in the valley. Ronan worries his camera traps may be stressing Mom. And so when the pack is away, he removes them. Summer soon returns, but its warmth won't last. By Ronan's 6th week, the sun is dropping behind the mountains and stripping heat from the valley. The pups are still too small to wander far beyond the den. The pack can't survive on cached meat much longer. But it turns out, Mum chose this den in this valley for a good reason. A large herd of musk oxen arrives. Most herds are led by a female with a keen memory. She knows where the best forage can be found. Musk oxen mow through the grasses, lichens, and dwarf willows that thrive here, packing on fat for the lean season ahead.
It's nice to see such a big herd.
They're so well adapted to this landscape, they survived the Great Pleistocene extinction, outlasting mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and dire wolves. It's now the start of the rut, when bachelor males rejoin the herd and bring hormonally triggered chaos, battling each other for dominance and showing off for the females. The herd moves slowly through the valley. At 3 months old, the calves are filling out. They make tempting targets for the hungry pack. Dad and Big Sis test the herd for weakness. They need just one uncertain calf, a moment of hesitation, a wrong turn. But this herd is strong, confident. They close ranks and pull their young in tight. Dad and Big Sis know they're outclassed and break off their attack.
It's not easy to be a wolf and to hunt something that's 5 times your size.
The pair head out of the valley in search of an easier meal. This may be Ronan's opportunity.
You know, the wolves just made a beeline, heading essentially due west from the den. You know, the river's low now, it's slow enough to cross. On foot, trying to follow a hunt, it's not possible. With ATVs, there's a bit of a chance.
Witnessing a successful hunt would give me a view into how these wolves strategize and select their prey, a window into their hunting culture.
Dad and Big Sis slip like smoke over the rugged landscape, while the visitor struggles to keep up, even on a powerful ATV. Wolves may travel 20 miles with ease, but for Ronan, distance goes down the hard way. £700 of machine and photographic gear. The wolves float to the horizon and vanish. Ronan can't keep up. He has no choice but to head back to base camp. The valley grows darker and colder.
Wolf Valley, July 27th, 3 a.m. I'm really starting to feel the stress of failure on this one. It's ridiculous that I need all sorts of equipment to try to keep up with the wolves, when all they need is a hard pair of foot pads and a fur coat. They're traveling over rugged land, looking for prey, and I can't follow them. And then Mom's disdain for humans, it's all super challenging.
Dad and Big Sis have rejoined Mom and the pups. But now Ronan finds them at a different den site.
Wolf Valley, July 28th, 7:20 in the evening. I spotted the pack at the confluence atop a new den about 3 miles north of the old one. Looks like Mom moved the family north, perhaps to be closer to water or to be further away from me.
Mum has weaned her pups, and now they'll eat whatever the adults carry back in their stomachs. They lick their big sister's muzzle, begging for dinner. No luck. Big Sis marks her family's new home with scat and urine, a signpost that defines their territory. Wolves learn from each other and from experience. Most on Ellesmere have never been hunted, and they don't know to be afraid of humans. But somehow, Mum learned to identify Ronan as a potential threat.
This is super frustrating to come to such a wild place and negatively be affecting the wild animals. So I'm done trying to force these wolves to be on camera. I think it's time to leave.
Ronan's arrival in the valley has upset the normal order, altering the very behavior he hoped to observe. But there are other wolves on Ellesmere, and a few weeks left of summer. There's still time to win the trust of another pack. Ronan just needs to collect his camera trap from Falcon Ridge.
Check out some of these pellets. So this is regurgitated from a gyrfalcon adult. So this is essentially stuff that they can't digest. This is the foot of a small bird, like a sandpiper.
Just as Ronan is ready to quit this place,
Oh yeah.
the valley reveals one last parting gift.
She's coming, she's right there. There's an active gyrfalcon nest. There's at least 2 big chicks. One of the adults just delivered something to the nest and the chicks. It's such a big bird up here. Biggest falcon in North America. Let me get higher up and see if I can get a better vantage into the nest.
The gyrfalcons are another big white apex predator here on the landscape, just like the wolves, and kind of exploit all the chicks of the other birds that are around in the valley. That's cool. There's 3 big chicks. They're like pumping their wings, trying to strengthen themselves and get ready to leave. Chicks seem like they're well fed. They're all big, almost all the same size, which is can be rare in the raptor world. The chicks usually start to call it before the adults come, and the chicks are calling now. Yeah, there's one. She's coming in. Let's see if I can get a delivery here. That's cool. One of the adults just dropped off, taken off, bombed down the valley again to go find some more food for these chicks. That's a lot of work to try to keep those 3 alive.
Like wolf pups, these chicks are ready to leave the nest after 8 weeks. In the Arctic, the young grow up fast to take advantage of the short summer.
This place is as far from civilization as you can get. Yet, it can't escape the effects of the modern world. 1 million species now face extinction around the globe. I feel a tremendous responsibility to document places that are still wild, to celebrate them and raise awareness about the value of our wilderness before we lose it.
The heck is that? That's a wolf heading towards camp. Walking like Dad. Gives me the feeling that the wolves are watching me as much as I'm watching them. Sniffing around my tent, and it's definitely Dad because she's peeing on things. That's pretty funny. Yeah. He's marking his territory. Well done, Dad. Well done.
Dad's camp visit and gift of his scent on tent and gearboxes, for Ronan, feels like a fitting send-off.
Mom, Dad, and Big Sis, the Wolf Valley pack. Oh, and Mom. I had such high hopes of us getting along, but you do not like humans. But I respect you for that. 8 weeks ago, when I first got here, I saw fresh paw prints around a few of the frozen dens in the Eureka Basin. That tells me the wolves were still checking back to see if any of the dens had thawed enough for them to move in. I've got to get back there and start over before my time runs out.
Ronan will move his camp 60 miles east to another part of the island. It's a hard choice. There's no guarantee he'll find another pack, or that a new family will let him in. But when a hunt is poor, wolves expand their search and look further. Now Ronan must go further too.
You're pretty close. All right. Come on, guys. The only thing wolves would be scared of here would be other wolves.